This week on MC Rider, let's talk about some tips for riding a motorcycle in cooler weather. We'll address some of the problems that cooler weather riding presents and some tips to deal with each scenario. If you're going to ride during cooler months, the first problem that you'll need to address is keeping yourself warm. You know, here in Texas, temperatures can change quite a bit in the winter months especially. The morning ride to work could be a cool 35 degrees, and you could ride home and it's 65 to 75 degrees. We can have that big of a temperature variation between morning and the evening ride. That's one of the reasons why I don't like a really heavy riding jacket for winter riding in Texas. I do want something bigger for more coverage than a smaller, lighter mesh jacket like I wear in the summer, but I'd rather have something that's big that keeps the wind out and allows me to build up layers underneath it. So if you're dressing in layers, there's a strategies to it. A good setup is for a cold weather riding is to have a base layer, a middle layer, and the outer layer, which is your riding jacket. I'll have links to these in the descriptions for a base and mid layer that will serve this purpose well. So with your outer layer in place, which is your riding jacket, you've got a middle layer and a base layer, and you can add or take those away depending on, how warm or cold you are. So in your morning ride, you can be all layered up. On your ride home, you can take one or two of those layers off when things have warmed up a bit. For the base layer, that layer closest to the skin, you want moisture-wicking thermal protection. This keeps sweat away from your core, but helps trap heat in. For the mid layer, you want something that's insulating, like wool or fleece, and these are also available in some synthetic materials, but I've not really tried those. The key, in my opinion, for that base and mid layer is to avoid a whole lot of bulk if possible. You can get all layered up with bulky clothes, but remember, you still have to ride a motorcycle. For the outer layer, you want wind protection. So this is going to be your riding jacket with the armor built into it. The riding jacket is your first layer of defense, and the goal is to keep the wind out and off of you. This can be challenging on a motorcycle when you're going down the freeway at 70 miles per hour, but the more wind you keep out and away from your skin, the better. Some motorcycle jackets claim to be four-season jackets, but these have endless layers of inserts that have to be put in or zipped in, and then you've got to get down the sleeve and button the ends of the sleeves in, and it's just a pain to get layers in and out of those. I mean, if all you ever ride in is extremely cold temperatures, that might work, but here in Texas, I need something that I can quickly adapt to temperature changes, and a winter jacket, in my experience, has not met that purpose. I would much rather have a summer mesh jacket and a good winter jacket that's windproof, but it allows me to easily add or take away layers underneath it. The next big thing you want to address is keeping your hands warm. If your hands get really cold on a ride, it can become difficult to manipulate the throttle, the clutch, the front brake, and all of the other finger controls that are required for riding a motorcycle. Many motorcycles have heated grips, and heated grips are great. They can get the job done as long as it doesn't get too cold. And the best thing about heated grips is they're with you on every ride. So if your hands are cold, a flip of the switch, you can start warming them up a little bit. But there's one thing even better than heated grips, and that's heated gloves. When you've got your hands on the heated grips of a motorcycle, you keep them in place. All of the heat is on the inside of your hand, and that's the portion of your hand that's away from the wind. Remember, your wind is the enemy, so all the heat is trapped inside. What heated gloves do for you is it allows the heating coils to run on the back of your hands and the length of your fingers, and that makes a huge difference in keeping your hands warm in the winter. Heated grips are good. Heated gloves are even better. Before I finish this video, I thought we'd take a look at the MC Rider forums and see what discussions have taken place over the years about riding in cold weather. There is a ton of posts on riding in cold weather and just about any other specific topic that you can think of when it comes to riding a motorcycle and riding a motorcycle well. The forums have truly become the best source of motorcycle knowledge that I know of on the web. You can get instant access to the forums and the field guide with training exercises to help you become a better rider. All of that's available to members of MC Rider, so head over to mcrider.com/member and check out all the options available as a member of MC Rider. and you'll help support my ability to make free videos just like this one that are helping making riders safer and better out on the road. So you got a little bit deeper pockets and you want something that will not only keep you totally warm, but also do so without a whole lot of extra bulk. That leads us to something even better than dressing in layers, and that's heated riding gear. You know, remember earlier we're talking about dressing in layers to stay warm. There's the base layer, the middle layer, and the outer layer. If you've got heated gear, you can replace that base and middle layer with a single electric layer that's not only going to keep you warmer, but it's going to provide a whole lot less bulk than having multiple layers built up under your riding jacket. And for my money, nothing beats a plug-in heated jacket liner. I prefer the plug-in over the battery-powered because you've got unlimited power source with the plug-in and you don't have to worry about your battery running out. And they tend to be able to get warmer from my experience than the battery-powered. You know, a simple cord running from your battery of your motorcycle can serve as the source of power, and you may already have that cord installed if you run a battery tender on your motorcycles like I do. You can use that plug to power the heated jacket liner and some glove liners that we'll talk about in a minute. So if you shop wisely, you can get a heated jacket liner that's got the wiring down the sleeves with a plug at the end, and you can get glove liners and gloves that are heated and they plug directly into the jacket liner. So once you've got everything on, it's a single cord connecting you to the motorcycle that provides all this heat for you. And man, it really is a good experience riding in, you know, very cold weather with minimal layers. Having that heated jacket liner and heated gloves is really a benefit for staying warm in colder weather. So there are a whole lot of brands out there. Some of them are Chinese brands that I'm not really familiar with, but the one brand that I do like and I have some experience with is Gerbing. If you go to mcrider.com/Gerbing, I'll forward you to the Amazon page that has the jacket liners and glove liners for cooler weather. I can highly recommend those products. I've used them in the past and they've always worked well for me. They also have heated pants and socks, but I've never used any of those. If you can keep your core warm, in my opinion, the core of your body, so from the waist up, you know, to your neck and your hands warm, you're 90% of the way of staying comfortable on a motorcycle, because if you can keep your core warm, your blood is going to circulate to those colder regions, you know, your legs and your feet, and it's not nearly as uncomfortable. If you can keep the core of your body warm and your hands warm, you're in good shape on a motorcycle, unless it's really extreme cold temperatures. And in my opinion, those extreme riding conditions raise the risk level because of snow or ice and some other reasons, so I tend to avoid those now that I'm older and maybe a little bit smarter. When it comes to a helmet, nothing beats a full-face helmet for cooler riding. A full-face helmet offers great wind protection. You can close off all the vents on it. You can get a neck gaiter that goes between your jacket, you know, on the bottom of your helmet to help keep the wind out there. And man, that's about as good as it gets. But cold weather riding can offer some hurdles of wearing a full-face helmet, and that's how foggy the visor can get. So you want to keep the visor closed to keep the wind out, but every time you breathe, it can fog that visor up. So that's why a helmet with a pin lock insert is worth its weight in gold, in my opinion. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This is a visor for a showy helmet, and this is a clear visor. I've got the tinted visor, I'm not sure if you can see it, on my helmet back there in the background. But if you can see this little pin right here, so there's a pin on this side and there's a pin on that side, that's called a pin lock. And what the pin lock does, let me pull up this helmet, we can probably see it a little better. So this showy helmet has the pin lock inserted in it, and see, it connects right there, and then it goes over here and connects, and it's this insert that goes inside the visor that just snaps in place, but it's got this little rubber gasket all the way around it. So what it does is it essentially creates a double pane window. So you've got the pin lock on the inside, your normal visor on the outside, and that does the best job of anything that I've found from keeping your visor from fogging up. You know, in some extreme temperatures, it may still fog up a little bit, But in my experience, as soon as you get started on the road, just the normal wind, that comes under the helmet is going to be enough to keep it from fogging up, and it's not nearly as bad. I mean, it's almost impossible to ride in a full face helmet in really cold weather because the visor is constantly fogging up. So you either have to crack it to let air in, which is going to cool you down, or you close it and the face shield fogs up. So look for a helmet or a visor with a pin lock on it, and then buy the insert for your particular helmet and for your particular visor. And that's going to do the best that I know of to keep your visor from fogging up in the wintertime. Depending on how cold the riding conditions are, some other things that you want to consider are road conditions. Black ice can be a problem, especially if you're riding in or near neighborhoods or businesses that forget to turn their sprinklers off in the wintertime. They can create an almost invisible layer of ice on the road that can ruin your morning commute. You want to be leery of shaded areas, so heavily shaded areas, especially out in the country and corners where there's a lot of tree overgrowth. Those areas hardly ever get sun, and sometimes if there has been a freeze and they don't get sun, it's still going to be frozen there, and it will often have a layer of leaves over that corner that's going to hide or obscure the ice from you. So you want to be leery of heavily shaded areas or areas that are covered in leaves that can reduce your traction or hide something underneath that's on the road surface. Another road hazard that's more prevalent in the cooler months are deer. Starting in October and through the winter months is rut season, and that's the time of year that the deer are looking for a mate, and they're much more active. So we may not know why the chicken crossed the road, but the buck's going to cross the road because that's where all the doe are, and our job is to avoid the deer, and the deer are most active from about an hour before sunrise to an hour or 2 hours after, and then an hour before sunset through the night are the times when they're going to be the most active, and those are also the times when we as motorcyclists are commuting to and from work. So be particularly leery in this time of season and during those times when the deer are most active. If you've enjoyed this or other MCrider videos, do me a favor and become a subscriber. By subscribing to the channel on YouTube, you're showing YouTube that this content is valuable, and they will in turn put it in front of more viewers who are looking for similar content. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button below. It's free to you, but it really does make a big difference to the channel. Till next week, guys, it's Ken with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road. There's a whole lot more to MCrider than just the weekly videos. Go to mcrider.com/member. You'll get instant access to the forums and the field guide. You get ad-free MCrider videos and a whole lot more. Go to mcrider.com/member for all the details.